This video is brought to you by my Patreon members over on patreon.com/habtunes. Thank you all for your support, and if you're interested in becoming a member, you can check the link in the description below. Art block is not real. Art block is not real is what you would hear some artists scream at the top of their lungs. And I've come to realize that the phrase art block is another hot button topic on a very specific side of the online artist community. You can't swing a dead cat around without hating an artist yapping about art block nowadays, especially on YouTube. And I guess I am also now a part of those yappers too. As someone who advocates for mental health awareness, I do believe there's more to art block than meets the eye. If you're watching this and are currently experiencing this phenomenon, don't worry. In this video, we're going to be discussing ways we can potentially overcome this mess. As someone who has experienced it, I can definitely say that this is a thing for me. But there are some artists who believe that this doesn't exist, which begs the question, is art block just a myth? Just like in my last video, Gatekeepers and the Art Snobs That Love It, I took the threads to see what the local artist community on there had to say about art block. I received a handful of thoughtful responses leaning on either side of the conversation, whether art block is real or just pure imagination. But what exactly is art block, and why do so many artists, including myself, seem to struggle with this alleged state of mind? Art block or artist block is just another term for creative block. And according to the Interaction Design Foundation, creative blocks are periods of reduced creative thinking and productivity. Such blocks can occur at any stage of a project. During these, designers experience difficulties in generating fresh ideas or executing existing ideas creatively. This applies to all creative people. Think of some of the world's greatest writers, painters, sculptors, and artists of various mediums. I'll give you a minute to think. Do you have someone in mind? Good. I'm sure the artist you're thinking about has a story attached to them where they couldn't finish a body of work, they stopped working on something for months or years at a time, or had a drastic change in lifestyle or career path where they even forsake art possibly altogether. With these famous stories, personal accounts from artists on threads, and my own experiences, I can safely say that there is a common denominator here, and that's mental health. What I found interesting about some of the replies on threads was that there were artists who claimed to never have experienced art block, but would go on to explain the symptoms of what art block is. People seem to relegate this term and matters revolving around mental health as a sign of weakness, often skirting the conversation only to circle back to it, even admitting to having particular mental health issues. Art block manifests itself differently for everyone, and it comes in a variety of forms or symptoms: anxiety, depression, stress, fear, fatigue, or even lack of knowledge. Now, I ain't a doctor, a psychiatrist, or even a therapist. So what I'm about to speak on is from my own journey and how I overcame what I call the pillars of art block. As the saying goes, life be lifing. Your mind is racing and you may be a little sweaty and there's a weight pressing down on your shoulders. You love creating, you love making art, and you love sharing it with the people around you and the world. But you're worried that it won't receive the love that you know it deserves. Maybe you won't get any buyers at the latest group show you exhibited at. Maybe your art gets defaced in a public setting. Or maybe you'll be trolled online and critiqued by some idiot that thinks Superman vs. Batman is a cinematic masterpiece. You're heading into a spiral, constantly thinking about obstacles that don't even exist. You may be in dire circumstances, right? Overcome with a feeling of malaise, or simply having an intense reaction to traumatic events in your life. It feels like you're in a dark pit that you can't crawl out of. No matter how many times someone says, just smile more and you'll be all right, this feeling doesn't go away. You just can't shake them off. What you're experiencing right now, what you're going through, is very common and very valid. However, this is the point. This is the moment where we need to switch up our routines. Monotony can lead us further down that dark pit, but here's how we get out of it. As cliche as this may sound, getting active can actually help. Walking every day, biking, and my personal favorite, longboarding. Any form of physical activity will do. Hell, just going outside to sit in nature is a recharge in and of itself. Something fellow creator Alicia Renese talks about often in her videos. Start a new hobby or two. Try new foods. Find a new book to dive into. Even a video game if you're into that. Check out new artists online and in person. Sit with yourself. Meditate or pray. Write your thoughts down and journal. Make a list of things you'd like to create or even start a vision board. Practice mindfulness and speak affirmations to yourself daily in the mirror. Say them out loud. Say them multiple times. If you can, find an accountability partner, a confidant, someone you can trust that can even join you in some of these new activities. Explore. As artists, as creatives, this is something that we should always be striving to do, always seeking to do. The goal here is to stimulate our minds, our bodies, and our spirits to become more self-aware of our emotions and our feelings and kind of do a little bit of a self-reboot. We have to be honest with ourselves about the physical and mental exhaustion that we experience. It's very easy to become stressed in this modern, hyper-connected world that we live in. We are constantly bombarded with a multitude of art and memes, tragic news, and such an abundance of information that hits us every second of every single day. This is the first time in human history that we've been given so much access to so many things, and it's really freaky when you think about it. This definitely does something to the human psyche, and that's on top of the weight of our everyday lives. Rent, bills, kids, parents, school, work. It's a lot to juggle, which is also on top of being hard on ourselves to be this perfect artist with this perfect career. Perfectionism is our biggest enemy and the biggest lie in our society. Fuck perfectionism. It only leads to overthinking, overplanning, and ultimately a constipation of the mind, a blockage preventing us from expressing ourselves properly. That's how the fear seeps in, the fear of failure. If we allow this to drag us down, we're back at square one, stressed. We can alleviate this stress by following the tips that I mentioned earlier in this video, in addition to setting realistic goals for ourselves. We can't get everything done in one day. That's how we burn out. Set smaller, manageable tasks. For instance, with me in these video essays, I set 1 day aside for writing, 1 day for recording, and 1 day for editing. Sometimes one or more of those tasks happen to take up the same space in the same day, but I still set a schedule and a cutoff time. Take a break. Listen, this is easier said than done. We make every excuse under the sun to not take time for ourselves, but it's our life. Sit down for 5 minutes and rest. Running on fumes ain't going to help anyone, let alone ourselves. I'm not saying let's be lazy and shirk our responsibilities, not at all. What I'm saying is let's practice better self-care. As I mentioned earlier, shatter those routines, get into some physical hobbies, get off those screens. We're humans, we're not machines. Failure is going to happen. Let's be honest, failure is going to happen. We dread it, we hate it, we fear it. But guess what? We can't stop it. It's a part of the ebb and flow of life, and that's okay. Failure gives us an opportunity to grow, improve, and challenge ourselves. Not every piece is going to resonate with everyone. Not every video is going to go viral. And not every opportunity we apply for is going to be ours. This is okay. Mistakes and setbacks are just lesson plans for future success. Embrace the failure, but don't give in to it. Once we practice mindfulness and become self-aware, we can use all that negativity as fuel to evolve. This self-actualization won't happen overnight and isn't a cure-all, but these are some things that I've used to help me in my journey. And if you are experiencing severe emotions or traumatic events, I'd highly recommend seeking out professional help or other forms of legitimate therapy. Don't worry, this ain't a BetterHelp ad. We don't rock with BetterHelp on this channel. We don't rock with BetterHelp at all. I will, however, provide some resources in the description below. A lack of knowledge or experience can also stifle our creativity. But fortunately, this is an easy fix. Become inquisitive, read, Google, and research like there is no tomorrow. Diversify your interests and seek out new experiences in this world of ours. People, places, nature, TV, anything. Just break away from that comfort zone and try something new. Try something that you've been curious about. For instance, if all you watch is Japanese cartoons, it might be a good idea for you to check out some animation from other countries and cultures. Trust me, you'll love it. Go on a trip to your local art galleries and museums. Take some time to absorb other mediums of art and media. Shoot, even take a class to learn and practice new techniques and other forms of art. Collaborate with other artists. Form a small support group. Collaboration is one of the strongest resources for artists. It's an exchange of ideas, techniques, and fresh perspectives that can stimulate your creativity. To make another quick Japanese cartoon reference, it's like in Dragon Ball Z when Goku and Vegeta fused together to become Gogeta, a much stronger and more powerful warrior. When you network and create that support group, it's a similar vibe. You too, in that instance, become Gogeta, Art Gogeta, Art Gita, Goji Artist. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sure by now you've caught on to the common theme here. It's all about the mental, your mental, our mental. The creatives and artists who deny the existence of art block are just doing it to feed their ego and the algorithm. It's also coming from a lack of empathy. Many people just don't care about things they haven't experienced and see themselves in it. It's very dangerous and disingenuous as it dismisses the mental component of this whole entire conversation. You all probably know my story by now, where I went through a severe bout of depression, leading to an attempt to permanently dismiss myself from this world. During everything that was going on, I couldn't see myself doing anything productive, let alone create art. Thankfully, I had the community tools and resources to bring me back from the brink and even create a series of work based on that entire experience. I will never disregard anyone that expresses that they're going through an art block or a creative block. It's important to be open to the experiences of others, and this is how we evolve as a community of artists, a community of creatives, and as a society. Exuding empathy and helping one another is very simple and is very easy. There's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. I deplore the sight of these videos that constantly denounce the plight of people going through a creative block or an art block, just for the sake of clout and rage bait. It's stupid. What I want this video to do is open up the conversation on mental health and wellness, its effects on our well-being, and to discover new techniques for overcoming these periods of mental downtime. It's my hope that what I discuss here can provide you with a start on the road to a better you. And again, I highly recommend professional help and legitimate sources, and please don't let this video be your only source. Again, providing links in the description below. But let me know how you feel about the legitimacy of the term art block. Feel free to share your own tips on how you crushed some of these issues and how you've overcame to get to a better place for yourself. And if you'd like to discuss this and talk about other things in real time, you can head on over to my live streams. I stream every Tuesday through Friday here on YouTube at 12 p.m. Eastern time. The schedule may change, but if you want to keep up, make sure you head to my website, hebtoons.com/schedule, and you'll be updated on whatever changes or things that might happen to the schedule. That link is also in the description box below. But until next time, until we meet again, stay true. We out.